Alright, so our next build is going to be for our Bretons. As you can see by the name there, this build is focused on being as tanky as possible. I think it's what Bretons loan themselves the best to. They're one of only like two actually magic focused races in the game. It's pretty much just them and High Elves, and then, you know, like female Argonians are okay at magic, and Dark Elves are okay at magic, but Bretons and High Elves are the ones that are really leaning towards it. But the reason I think Bretons are more of a... their skills lend themselves more towards being just really tanky magic users is because they have the really strong magic resist. Racial... it's not really an ability, just part of being a Breton. Here, I'll show you. So right here, you got Dragon Skin, which gives you shield for 50 points for 60 seconds on self. That's really strong, basically once a day, just pretty much unkillable for most enemies. And then you just have an inherent 50% resist magicka, which is crazy. Very, 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 very good. And the reason you don't want to just be like a, you know, I guess you could just be a pure mage that just happens to have these defensive capabilities, but that's not really going to be as fun as going high elf and having way more magic to play with as a pure mage and being able to cast way stronger spells. Spell making in this game, it's very fun, it's very awesome. You can be very creative with it, but it does take a lot of magicka. So I think with Breton, it just makes the most sense to make like a tanky battle mage kind of character, basically. It's also just like a French white guy, which to me just... maybe it's because I've been playing Morrowind since I was 7 years old, but to me that's what a battle mage is supposed to look like. Don't cancel me.
Yes, we've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're...
See, this guy's a Breton, I bet.
There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours.
Alright, so let's look at this. We'll do tanky battle mage. Specialization's still going to be magic, but we're going to do endurance for the increased health every level up, and we're going to do willpower for even more magic resist, and fatigue to help with using the heavy armor. So yeah, sorry. We're going to be using heavy armor. It's going to be hard to manage the heavy armor early game because of the encumbrance. You're not going to have a lot of strength. It's going to be really heavy, and you're not going to be able to carry a lot of loot. So you're going to want to find ways to feather yourself early, which means, you know, cast spells that make your encumbrance lower, or, you know, find equipment that has a constant feather effect on you so that you have more encumbrance. Try to pump points into, you know, strength training skills before you level up, so you can get that strength up and carry more. You know, you're not going to have a lot of strength skills in your major or minor, so those stats are going to be low, so training them is going to be really cheap. So just before you level up to level 2, go train your, you know, long blade 10 times with someone in the Fighters Guild. Get that +5 in strength at your level up. It's going to make it a lot easier to carry this heavy armor around. For weapon, for me, when I think of a battle mage in my head, I think of a guy with a shield and a mace. So I did blunt weapon. You can choose whatever one-handed weapon you want for that, but to me, blunt weapon is my favorite. Destruction is going to be our main damage dealer. Conjuration, because I feel like a battle mage wants a, you know, little minion homie fighting alongside him. They're not going to be the most powerful class early on, so Conjuration's also going to be really helpful to kind of tank enemies' hits, do a little more damage, take some of the pressure off. Restoration for healing, obviously. So Enchant. Enchant is going to be our way of breaking the game with our Breton. If you don't know, having a higher enchant is still helpful even if you are using enchanters in this game. So even though you're paying someone, having a higher enchant skill still helps out. It's kind of hard to train. I would just use a trainer. We're going to use armor to repair that heavy armor, and mace and shield. By the way, we're using a shield, so we need block. Going to be very heavy, tanky boys. Nothing's going to be able to kill us, but we're just not going to do a lot of damage early on. In the long run, though, this is going to be a very strong build and pretty much unkillable. if you do things like use alteration here to put shields on yourself and levitate to just walk away from danger. This is also what you're going to use to open locks. Yeah. Water breathing, water walking. Finally, mysticism. If you have enchant, you need mysticism to put people in soul gems. It's also really nice for mark and recall. If you don't know, mark lets you put a little mark on the ground. It's not actually there, but it remembers the spot that you're standing when you use mark. And then when you use recall, you teleport to that location. So anytime you do a quest, you accept the quest, put your mark down, run off, go do the quest, hit recall, and you're right back to the quest giver. Save you a ton of time. So yeah, with this build, you're going to be wearing heavy armor, but I'd also recommend finding the boots of blinding speed, putting those on. If you don't know about those, they blind you, but give you like plus 200 speed. There's ways to get rid of the blind effect, though. Just look it up if you have never done it before. But yeah, you're going to be moving slow as shit unless you get those boots. So definitely get the boots of blinding speed. And we're going to take the mage birth sign. The other two magic focused ones have downsides that we don't want to deal with. And we're going to make an Atronach high elf later, so that's why I'm not picking that. You could do Atronach if you are comfortable playing this way, but just know with Atronach you have stunted magicka, so you don't regain your magic by resting or sleeping. You have to go to temples to get your magic back or absorb magic, so it's a more advanced way to play. If you play a lot of Morrowind, go for it, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to do Mage. Apprentice is bad because it basically nullifies your whole bonus of being a Breton, which is the resistance to magicka, so we don't want to get rid of that great bonus, so we're just going to do Mage.
Interesting. Now, before I stamp these papers,
and yeah, that's kind of how you make the one of the tankiest classes you can start out as in the game. Obviously, we only have 40 health. You're going to think, what? That's not tanky. You level up a few times while improving that strength and improving that endurance each time through trainers, you know. You have a lot of low stats and strength and endurance governing attribute here that are going to be really cheap to train before you level up, and then you can get +5 in each of those and quickly get that HP up. And yeah, you're going to be decked out in heavy armor with shields on and magic resist immediately, so I think this is a very safe build. Fun to use magic in this game, obviously. It has the best spellcrafting system of any game I've ever played. And yeah, here's how you steal the limeware platter once again. Now you have a limeware platter, sell that to Aril, 650. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Definitely one of the more generic builds I'm going to be showing off, but there's just not a whole lot of other ways to build a Breton that I think makes sense, and I'm not going to like sit here and lie to you and make some shit up that doesn't work well. Anyway, peace out.